here we are, we're starting on bag B this time, and we're starting off with part 12 where we've got to put the shafts and bearings in. I'm going to put these together first, and these seem to go like so. That's one, and then we've got to do one opposing. These bottom ones are flexible, so you can actually bend them out of shape, and I've just have done that. So there we go, just a smear of grease. And they go one inside, and a bearing on the outer. There's one, and this should be about the same, just as easy. And we've got a pair of rear suspension. Now we're on to part 13. We've got to put O-rings in the drive shaft, which is not a fun job, but it has to be done. Use whatever you think you need to get these pushed well down in the bottom. There we go, they're both in. Then we'll fit these and they're done. Now the cup goes this side and the pin goes the other. Look at that. Perfect. Now these arms, they're directional, and that goes away from the motor, the thicker part, and it fits just through. There we go. Right, we're on to part 14, getting everything together on the rear. So we'll start off by putting on the lower drive shafts first. and everything goes through the lower hole. Yeah, these are probably the fiddliest part of the pins. That's what it should look like, and that is correct. Always double check, and then we'll get the other side on. Because once we start adding drive shafts, it's going to get fiddly, because we're going to be working with E-clips on the suspension. There we go. And I've already made a mistake. I put one upside down. The curse of filming building. You do make the odd mistake. Look at that. Here we go. Then we've got to take, once I get this back into place, we've got to take a drive shaft. These are nice and long, and the outer in the inner, and this is when it's going to get tricky. We've got a pin that goes in the top, and then it goes through the arm like so, and then we've got one of the little tiny E-clips, and these are tiny. They're the same as they use on their shock absorbers. I've got it. There we go. That's one side done. And then just got to do this side. Exactly the same. There we go. Make sure the drive shaft is good. Brush the E-clip into place. Yeah, if you're not happy, double check the E-clips. There we go. They both weren't quite on. Well, we got wishbones. Section 15 is a rear guard and shock mount. Well, I think it is. Get it the right way round. There's a right way up. These screws, of course, going into hard plastic, we're using wax again. But the last one is going into a softer bumper plastic, so it doesn't require it. So we're going to put this together. Is that right? No. Is that right? I will find the right position. Yeah, I'm looking at it and I can't see it correct. That seems to be the way. So screw into there and screw into this one. There you go, it lines up like so. Now this pushes onto the back, and as the shorter screw goes through the top. And that is held by a flange. That. And then the lower section, it's the same again, but you're going for a lot more. And that's the rear guard. Now the next stage is I'm not going to do, because it's shocks. You got to make all the shocks up, add the springs, and we won't reconvene until part 19 fitting them, because like I said, everyone's done shocks, everyone knows how to put shocks on, so I'm not going to go through that section. Right, part 19, fitting the rear shock absorbers, which we done. We got these nice little spacers, they're nice. Right, so to fit these on, they go to the outer hole on the bottom, and they can only bolt in one place at the top. So we'll put the spacer in, screw goes through, then a blue spacer, the D3, and that goes into this first hole. Oh, and there's a nut on the other side. I forgot the nut, trust me. So somehow you've got to get the nut from underneath. Do that up. And then the top doesn't require a spacer, it's just got the little tube, step tube. And the last one. And that's the rear done. Right, part 20 is front hubs and wishbones. These hubs you can't get wrong because the ball connector can only go in from one side. So that is quite good. They do seem to go in a long way. Now it wants us to add the bearings. That's one done. These are a good fit. That's those done. Now we got to fit the balls to the pivot ball to the suspension. Can only go in one place. It's a good thing about this kit where everything is universal on the suspension. Every wishbone's the same, every top link's the same, so it does make it a little bit less confusing. Now I'm going to add these parts for next because they have to go a certain way. Missed just a little bit of plastic there, and we'll put them in first. So let's make sure we get the steering correct, because this is the one bit you can get upside down. Just getting it to line up. There we go. That was playing up a bit. And I've done it wrong. Oh well. You can see why I said get these prepped. because once we get these correct, like I said, I've done it twice wrong now. Some days you have one of these days. That's better. Well, I say that, screws the wrong side. Well, at least they're even now, so we should get this bit right. Now the ball joint faces downwards on the side, so this one goes this side. These are pre-threaded, so they go in quite easy. And the last thing you would want to do is cross thread these. That's one done. Now part 21 is putting O-rings in these drive cups, but we've already shown that, so not fussed about that. There we go. Then we got to fit on a part A5, which bolts and goes on, which is this piece here. And then it shows a bolt through there. Well, it will be better if I put the bolt and another flange nut. There's either something slightly wrong with this bolt or the nut. Oh, we got there in the end. And then we've just got to fit the upper control arms. They can only really go one way. They're really quite a tight fit, these are. Now part 22 is fitting the wishbone. Make sure you got the right way around as per instructions. There we go. Dog bone goes in. And as per the rear one, it's the pin again with the wonderful little E-clip. I did have another one. Get one done. And there we go. The other side's the same, so I'm not going to show you that. Part 23 is the anti-roll bar. You've got to start off by putting some rubber bits on all the way to the end. And then you've got these threaded brass balls. Go on next. And then you've got these links, and I recommend doing them now. They can be hard to get on. As you can see, they don't like going on. One of the hardest things you can ever fit are these. There's one. Because if you don't put them on now, when you try and fit them on the car, they are way harder. See what I mean? These are really hard to pop on. I've got it. And then put a couple of more small bits of rubber on. That's what holds the, literally holds this together. Some little bits of rubber tubing. and that's what you should end up with. Now we've got to try and get all this together, and we'll start off with the body mount, which quite interestingly goes in between. And then you've got the shock mount that goes over the top. And a screw goes through the lot. And then you have the anti-roll bar, which holds on the other bits. And what you've got to do is just thread these through first above the drive shaft. There we go, they go there. And you've got these plastic covers. And again, you screw through everything. Like I said, these are not designed for the ease of fitment. You know, you get one of those days where every time you go to try and do it, it moves. Well, that's one in. Hopefully this side's a bit easier, because we've got it roughly more lined up. You won't believe how such a little job can be so fiddly. There we go. And then the anti-roll bar pops onto the two ball joints. But you can see why I said put these little links on first, because once it's screwed on, you'll really struggle with them. There we go, complete. Now the next part is part 24, which is just the second set of shocks, 25 and 26, so we're going straight to 27. Part 27 is fitting the shocks, and it's basically identical to the rear. You've got a flange tube, washer through the outer hole, and a nut on the back. Quite simple. The top doesn't have a spacer, it just has the tube. And the other side's the same, so again I'm not going to bother with that. So here we go, that concludes bag B.